Pecha Kucha 1, Colt Cougar, and Imagine FX. So Colt Cougar is what I've called my YouTube channel. It's basically my online pseudonym from gaming. I spent some time thinking of it when I first came up with it. I'm a Metal Gear Solid fan, and I like names like Revolver Ocelot, so I thought I'd come up with one of my own. For the channel, I needed some artwork, so I kind of tried to sketch out some stuff. Cowboy, mountain lion. I wanted it to be as cool as possible, start as I mean to continue, but also not use that as an excuse to not actually start the channel. So this is a pretty good mood shot for what I'm trying to go for. I think that's pretty cool. I'm in my head, of course, it's much cooler, but you gotta make sure expectations don't get too far ahead of what you have the time or the capabilities to do. This is my current clip art that I've used for the banner and for the little logo. It's not bad considering I just kind of sat down and I did it in one sitting. I will replace it as time goes on, but now I don't have this as an excuse to not start the channel. Yeah, I don't really know how to draw Cougars, so I did a little bit of study work with my Pentel brush pen. I need to do a lot more, but first step is one step in the right direction. Bring on some more. Imagine FX. I went and bought this week, Monday. The week was doomed from there on out. It's definitely a magazine for me, but it's well, we'll get to this, won't we? Right, the inside cover has a picture of Michelangelo on it. And on the other side is Powerpuff Girls fan art, so I definitely feel like I'm the demographic for this. It's also advertising Coral Painter. This simultaneously makes me feel right at home and quite alarmed, because I'm competing with these people. 2000 AD are celebrating their 2000th edition. These are people I should, basically be working for at this point. Some of my favourite artists and writers have worked here, and I really need to show them stuff, try and get an internship there. And here's Ross Tran. He's a big deal, apparently. He has a YouTube channel. He's a very talented illustrator. I'm competing with this guy, which is quite daunting, but it's good to help me remember that I don't have to compete with this guy image by image. Guilty Gear, yeah, there's a lot I could say, but all I want to talk about is the story mode, which was a string of kind of 3D animated cutscenes with no gameplay. It reminds me that you should always try to marry your narrative approach to the strengths of the medium you're using. Lone Wolf and Cub. I love this kind of artwork and the mature content that goes with it. You probably can't see, but the ship looks like it might have been constructed using things like charcoal and real art materials. On the bottom is what's his name, Daigoro, starting a fight. That gave me an idea that I had on the tube on the way to university to come up with sort of an ultra-violent samurai thing only involving kids, but it's not really ultra-violent. It's like a low-budget film where the blood is ketchup, stuff like that. So I kind of tried to work through a few thumbnails, get the idea out of my head, and actually onto some paper. So it would be kind of cinematography. The cinematography would be quite strong, but like you'd obviously see that this, no one's actually getting hurt. I'm not sure. I mean, I like the idea for a one shot. I'm not sure how long you could stretch it out. Here's a competition that I found out about the day before it was due. Do a silent comic about jazz to possibly present to Art Spiegelman, author of Mouse. I came up with some stuff. Here is my first double page spread. It's like a dude in jail. Some establishing shots on the first page. The warden gives the two guys a choice between the Bible and music in an attempt to give them something to focus on to reform. They kind of scoff at religion. They kind of settle on the trumpets, and they get to playing. Oh, it's folded over. In the final double page, it would be like a montage of the criminals kind of reforming, leaving, busking, and then kind of making it to a successful jazz band. Here's my bookshelf. I reorganized it finally, having neglected it for far too long. It's a small victory. It's something I meant to do, I didn't do, and now I've done it. If I can keep doing that, I'll find myself in a good place sooner rather than later. And while I was by my bookshelf, I found some old sketchbooks. This is just me copying someone else's sketches at the back of a Punisher book. But it kind of helps me incorporate what he does into what I do. This is how you learn, really. You kind of make these things your own. Here's, I think, an A3 scale comic book page I did. Probably my first attempt at actually doing things to scale that I could then, digitize and color and ink at later stages. I think it's not too bad. Here's an example of sort of SpongeBob SquarePants fish characters. They have an inherent comedy feel that I kind of would like to investigate further as I move on. It's not something I've spent any time looking at, and I really should. I'm a big fan of things like Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life. Yeah, a lot in here. I haven't had time to dwell on anything, but that's kind of the way these things are meant to be. That wraps up Pecha Kucha 1. See you next time.